What's up, YouTube Revolution? ZombfectedGaming 349 at your fingertips. So today is my podcast with Flameepf, but some of my footage kind of got a little ruined a little bit and actually cut out a bit. So some of the stuff is gonna be just cut through a bit throughout the video. I actually recorded a podcast with him for like almost 2 hours straight and stuff. But he will have the full podcast up on his channel eventually. And make sure you go check out Flameepf's YouTube channel down in the description. We're talking and discussing about Watch Dogs Legion and online also for Watch Dogs Legion. Talking about how Watch Dogs Legion online should include some newer great features that could be like similar to Grand Theft Auto, but at the same time too we're talking about how Watch Dogs is not a Grand Theft Auto clone at all, and it shouldn't be at all because Watch Dogs is its own thing, Grand Theft Auto is its own thing, but at the same time Watch Dogs can take shots at Grand Theft Auto of course too to get that competition with Grand Theft Auto, but at the same time they're their own thing and they're not fully like Grand Theft Auto because Watch Dogs is not a Grand Theft Auto clone. This game is a hacker game with hacking abilities that you use your environment to your advantage. It's kind of like a futuristic kind of version of Grand Theft Auto, but at the same time Grand Theft Auto is not supposed to be futuristic, but at the same time too Grand Theft Auto did take a lot of stuff from the Watch Dogs games. Like look at the not Cayo Perico, it's the one heist called Doomsday Heist, that's what it was. So Doomsday Heist has a lot of that kind of stuff actually, like a lot of that hacker type stuff, and they added a lot of hacking into Grand Theft Auto 5 of course, even in its main story and in the online too, because they probably were trying to somewhat like take shots at Watch Dogs and stuff, but like it's not like a full-on environment hacking type game like Watch Dogs is though, but like they got like some of that hacker-esque theme very similar to Watch Dogs, because most Grand Theft Auto games is not about hacking at all, but GTA 5 was the first time they ever introduced hacking into their into the story. Like somewhat, I think some of the older Grand Theft Autos did have hacking if I remember or not, but like I played all the old Grand Theft Autos. I haven't played a lot of the old Grand Theft Autos in a very long time though. But yeah, we're just talking a lot and making some, you know, like opinions about what Watch Dogs should do and what they shouldn't do and what they should add to keep this game running for many years until the next Watch Dogs game comes out, maybe 5 or 6 years later. I think that's how long Ubisoft should wait. But ZombfectedGaming 349 over and out, just about to do the actual podcast. You're about to hear it now. A cryptocurrency heist actually thing where we actually go after like a bank or something. Like, you know how there's that Quanta Bank thing in the screen, the main menu screen, like that tower.
Yeah.
Like, you think they should add that as a interior or something, like as like?
Yes. I think one of the really important things for them with any new missions they add is they gotta take advantage of new environments, if you know what I mean. Because one of the good things about the tactical ops that they release now is that some of them took place in places that we've never been before, you know? Even though technically like it was, you know, in the basement of the Tower of London or stuff that we've kind of been near, it's not the same like enter the Titus building, enter this, as all the other missions are, or places that we've seen in the open world. And with that one mission, I think it's the second one in the tactical op, where you're in that quarantine kind of zone. That one works really well because they introduce new areas, and it's not just the same locations for players to go into. So
yeah,
I think
like in free roam, yeah.
Exactly. So I think with your idea of, you know, like a heist, for example, that building isn't accessible as far as I know in free roam or to its full extent. So if they took that and made it part of a mission, the interior was the mission, then it would make players more, I don't know, intrigued by it because they've never been inside that building before. So that kind of stuff is what's going to keep the missions feeling fresh and keep them interesting, because it's not like, okay, we're just in the open world but doing a different thing. It's actually a mission. You're actually in a new environment dedicated for this mission, and it'll allow them to build that level based on the possibilities that the players like need to have during that. You know, they could have stealth things, added more technology if you want to do stealth, add more cover for firefights, that kind of stuff that they can build it around to see how the players use it in the mission.
I actually also want to see way more stealth type missions too, because here's the thing: a lot of people, they don't go in. They always go in guns blazing, especially my friends too. They don't like want to really do stealth, and I get bored of going guns blazing. I want to like just mix it up and go like stealth and stuff too. So what they need to do is they need to make some missions where we had to go almost all the way through doing stealth. Yes, my friends may find it very frustrating, and then we may fail a lot, but I'm gonna say it's time for you guys to sharpen up your stealth skills, of course, too, right? Like,
especially since it's such a massive part of this game. Like in solo, I guarantee most people who play the campaign didn't go in guns blazing, because that's just how it is. Like, you play the game stealth, you do it for mostly stealth. Although the guns blazing is often fun, it's just different because when you're with other people, all of a sudden the slow approach isn't as enjoyable. When actually, if you take the time to do it, it's really satisfying because you're with your friends and you guys are thinking it through, and it's just one of those things where as soon as you complete the mission in full stealth, it feels a lot better and more planned out, and you guys can pull some really cool things off. So if they had a mission kind of like the start of Spare Parts, where it relied on you being stealthy until a certain point, they just need to extend that to make a longer mission based around being sneaky.
So you know, it'd be really cool. So if they ever wanted to do like a really cool heist or something, and where we had to go to maybe, I don't know, the Quanta Bank or something, you know, they should make it that there's alternate versions to do the heist or something. Like, what if the tactical ops started to eventually like branch into like kind of like what GTA Online does? Like, you got to set up the tactical ops or something, and it's like, so if you want to set up this version of the Quanta Bank tactical op heist or something, they would say you have to set it up like this, like, so you can do it as the stealthy way. Or if you want to go in loud and dumb, like how Lester from GTA will say, actually, he'll be like, okay, you can go in guns blazing and stuff like that. That'll be crazy too, like and then you can just go on through, but it'll be much harder.
And that's like, here we just gotta say this: Watch Dogs is not supposed to be, was never meant to be, and won't ever be a GTA clone. The online mode is not going to be GTA Online. Like, that's not how you play it. That's not what you should expect coming into this game. But comparing it to GTA Online will allow you to see kind of how many possibilities that they're missing out on, especially since GTA came out in 2013, and they've been updating it ever since, which is making it into a better game. But that's not to say that GTA didn't have a ton of features when it first came out. The campaign was, for the most part, still the same campaign 8 years ago when it came out. And it's still amazing. It's still good. It has depth. It has stuff that you can do. And in a 2021 game, to see the amount of stuff that Ubisoft kind of missed out on with this game and this campaign and some of the missions, it's just sad, especially from somebody who enjoys Watch Dogs, because you know how much Watch Dogs 2 did for 2016, and the fact that that game still holds up today is amazing, because they did new things with that game. They made it fun. They changed stuff from the first game. This one, although they did change stuff, they added play as anyone. For the most part, they just took away a lot of stuff, like traffic lights, for example. Traffic light and steam pipe hacks. All that is just gone, and that's not what you look to see when you play a sequel, play a game that comes after the one before, because you want them to build onto the stuff that's there before. And like, taking things out, removing things that made the game kind of more fun, is going to ruin the whole experience, especially when most of those things would work amazing in this online environment that they've created. Because imagine Showdown or Bounty Hunters and all this stuff, all the modes in Watch Dogs 2 playing out in this London map with the play as anybody. All that stuff would be so amazing. And Invasion, I'm glad they're bringing Invasion back, because that's one of the areas where it'll be better in Legion. Because that kind of stuff, you just need to think about it how you want to change it up. You don't want to have the same game. And it's very obvious that most of the gaming community is not liking how this game is right now. It's very obvious. And Ubisoft seems to be understanding as they're adding in the character customization and new characters and all this stuff that people have kind of been hinting at they want. Although it's not everything, the character customization is something that, as a community, everybody's been like, okay, this needs to be in the game, because we can't just be stuck with the default characters with their default hair and their default tattoos, all that stuff, because it's not how the game should be. So the fact that they're adding it in shows my hope that they still have a chance on kind of saving this game, because they're listening to us at least.
Yeah.
And when it comes to AI ideas in the future, they just need to keep listening to the players, because at this point, I feel like a lot of the player base has a better idea on how to save this game than the company itself. And that's not an insult, that's just how it is right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I've been saying too. Like, I text Ubisoft a lot too on my Facebook and stuff too, and not only that too, I talk on forums and all that stuff. I talk on pretty much everything and stuff. I even tell some other people and stuff too. Like, there's some people on like social media saying I don't like Watch Dogs Legion, Watch Dogs 2 and Watch Dogs 1 were way better and stuff. Like, I would say, yeah, don't say that you just don't like the game or something, but if you really want the Watch Dogs game to succeed, and if you want it to be like on the levels of like what Watch Dogs 1 and 2 was at the same time, you need to communicate with Ubisoft. Don't just say I don't like the game and put it down and not say anything, but like, you should get on the social medias with Ubisoft. Start telling them what you need to do and what you need to do to save this game, of course, too, because Watch Dogs Legion deserves it and stuff. It had a huge hype actually when it got announced at E3 2019. Like it was crazy. Like when you see everybody, when they saw it say play as anyone, that was crazy. That was like everybody was just jaw dropping to the floor.
Yeah, because the advertising was great and the idea was great. They had the foundation for an amazing game. And it just seems like they wasted that potential, kind of.
Yeah, they kind of did a little bit. Like, no offense to Ubisoft, but like, they did kind of waste that potential. But like, at the same time though, great combat system. I love the combat in this game. It's like the closest thing to almost like this one other game that's like Grand Theft Auto called Sleeping Dogs.
Oh yes, I know
also too. Like, and then there's also I would say sometimes Watch Dogs, especially when it started to go into Watch Dogs 2, and of course now with Legion, Watch Dogs 2 and Legion actually feels a lot like a Saints Row game as well. That's what the awesomest part is too. Like, the awesome part is, like, you know how in Saints Row and stuff, like in Saints Row you don't die as easily like in Grand Theft Auto, right? And you are able to you're able to ragdoll like so many meters in the air and stuff and still land and get up without any broken bones and start running around still. But in GTA you do more like face plants and you're almost nearly dead.
And that's the thing too, because Saints Row knows that they don't take themselves too seriously. They're a game that's there for fun. Like, it's all for messing around, and the stuff they have in place shows that. And now this game, exactly like you said, feels like it could be, you know, kind of that same feel. And with the stuff that they have going on, it could be the same feel. But in just important parts, like the world, for example, it's just so empty. Especially because, like, you can see the good parts. Like, okay, there's the amazing melee fighting system. There's nice takedowns. There's all that stuff that they got really right. But then they also got stuff kind of wrong. Because with the amazing melee system comes the fact that we can't melee with other players. We can't do the bare knuckle boxing with other players, which already missed opportunity. Why wouldn't you use one of the strongest parts of the game, or at least at its base value, to put it in your online mode? Because that would definitely draw people back. People would be getting special characters just to play the bare knuckle boxing against their friends. I know I would. And then even now, reading the roadmap, when they say that they're adding the DJ and the first responder, I talked about this in my video. If they can work that first responder into the open world in a way that makes them, you know, the ambulances and the fire trucks and Watch Dogs 2, how they would respond to events, if they could pull that in this game, it would just make a lot of parts feel less empty. Because right now, you could kill everybody on a single street and nothing will happen. You can just stand there and watch the people just, you know, okay, they're deceased, they're going to the hospital. But nobody's ever going to come take them to the hospital. So
That's
it's just parts
hilarious.
like that. Exactly. It's just parts like that that need to be filled in, kind of. Because it's just a box with great ideas, but nothing to connect those ideas with players. It's just spread out here and there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really funny when it says like it will say that they're doing something like, oh, hanging out at this bar for like until maybe 1600 hours, and then the second you shoot them in the head or something, it says heading to St. Thomas Hospital. It's
Yeah, but
hilarious how it
they
says
never
that.
get sent. They just appear there.
Yep.
That's the
It's
worst
hilarious.
part.
Like
It's
that's
just,
that's what
yeah,
makes it
disappointing.
hilarious though. It's kind of a little disappointing but hilarious at the same time. How it says they're heading there even though they're just laying there on the ground, right?
But
Like
see, that's another good thing that they did with the profiler. How you can see people's schedules and see what they're doing, and they actually follow through. That's a concept that games have been not trying to fill out, but games have been increasingly working towards NPCs having their own lives and that kind of stuff. And this game nailed it, especially in the single player, where you could follow people and deep profile and that kind of stuff, and they would follow through with the stuff on their schedule.
mhm.
And that whole loop gets broken if you do, like you said, shoot them or something, and they're supposed to be headed to the hospital, but they lay there until you leave, and then they'll despawn and show up at the hospital. Now, if that cycle could be completed, where say you're following somebody for an entire in-game day, and they're doing all the stuff on their schedule, if you hit them and they get sent to the hospital, and then a paramedic comes and takes them to the hospital, that would just complete the whole cycle and the whole realism of this deep profiler that they have right now.
Yeah, that'd be like crazy and stuff if it shows like it shows the paramedic actually lifting them up and putting them in the back.
Exactly, because even with Watch Dogs 2, they didn't have them do anything. You know, they would come and do one of two things that I've seen: clap and wake the person back up from death, or sometimes they'll just take a selfie with the body. But that kind of stuff was just there to fill the gaps. Like, I spent a lot of my time just messing around with ambulances and 911 and gang members and all that stuff because it was just there. And if you want to have a sandbox like that, because that was a big selling point of online. When you think back to the advertisements, it was, okay, you have an open world sandbox with your friends. But a sandbox is supposed to have possibilities, opportunities for you to mess around, for you to just have fun. But when there's not much of that, you're kind of just stuck to doing the same things over and over again. If people have been watching any of my streams, they know that we'll hop in, some of my viewers will join, and we'll say, okay, what do you want to do? We might mess around in free roam for a little bit, but it'll always come back to the same three things, which is either co-op missions, Spider-Bot Arena, or the city events. Because solo assignments you're not going to do while other people are there. And other than that, you have nothing else to do. So you're kind of just repeating the same actions over and over again. And when you're max level, there's no reason for it. So it feels like you're grinding a game, but getting no rewards whatsoever.
Yeah. All right. So 1 second. I'm actually just gonna stop the video here and then.
It'll be like, okay, at least they're listening to us, and we'll give them our time.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Actually, too, like what you said. You know how you two were saying about like the whole like live service game thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, even though not every game deserves to be a live service, but in a way, Watch Dogs would be a really good live service game. Like, it doesn't have to be like 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 a full-on massive pay-to-win like type of game, because Watch Dogs is far from that. Like, it gives you like so much things already as it is. You don't even have to spend really any microtransactions, and you already got yourself a really good game and stuff too, right? Like like they can make this game into like somewhat of a live service, because obviously what it will do is actually make Watch Dogs more recognizable, especially too like if Legion becomes on the levels of like Rainbow Six Siege for like Ubisoft. Like, the Watch Dogs games could be like even though you said too, it's not supposed to be like full on Grand Theft Auto and stuff too, but some people would look at it as like it's Ubisoft's kind of version of Grand Theft Auto, but with a twist, like a really crazy twist, like a very different direction.
Yes.
So it's a splitting mirror of Grand Theft Auto, but what it does things very differently. Like, that's what I'm trying to mean too. Like, that's what I mean. Like, is in like like Ubisoft got the opportunity for this game to really compete with like Grand Theft Auto, because look at all these other genre of video games. You got like Battlefield versus Call of Duty. Those are first person shooters. You got also all these other battle royale games competing with each other too, but there's not very much games that are very similar to Grand Theft Auto competing with Grand Theft Auto Online. And I think Grand Theft Auto Online needs that competition so other games can even make more games very similar to Grand Theft Auto Online and like start trying to rival that, because what Grand Theft Auto Online is a really cool game and stuff, like the concept of a free roam lobbies, going around like completing tasks, doing stuff, maybe other enemy groups and stuff can like invade in what you're doing in that free roam, of course too. Like they need more games like that, not just these battle royales and first person shooters. That's what they're always mostly focusing on and stuff too. Like
Yeah, and that's why the market of that game is flooded, like you were saying.
yeah, it's full on flooded. Like I don't really see any other games doing what Grand Theft Auto Online does. The only thing the only closest game I ever played to Grand Theft Auto Online would probably be Watch Dogs 1, 2, and now Legion. But at the same time though, I don't want to compare, but it's Red Dead Online, because Red Dead Online, they're both from the same company, so you can't really compare that because they're both from the same company and stuff. So
yeah.
Even though it's all on horseback, of course, too, it doesn't really count to me because they're from the same company. I want to see a different company, like attempt at what Rockstar's doing, but with a twist, actually, like with different things that Rockstar can't come up with, or something like that. And then let's see, like I want to see like some sort of really cool like you know how Saints Row and GTA they took like some they took some like funny, they took shots at each other, right? Like you know how like in Saints Row 2, I don't know if you ever seen this trailer. Would you rather go bowling, or would you rather be a cop on a TV show, and I don't know, something like that, but or would you rather get into a septic truck and start causing destruction and stuff like in Saints Row 2? Like I remember years ago, back when Watch Dogs 1 also was about to come out, a couple months is enough time in Los Santos, come to Chicago in November. This was before it was delayed to May of 2014. So this is when Watch Dogs 1 was supposed to come out just a couple months after GTA 5 in November of 2013. Like
right.
That's what made probably a lot of people say, wow, yeah, Grand Theft Auto and Watch Dogs, they're both kind of like these very similar type of games, and that's what's making a lot of people probably say, like, because this is what a lot of people are asking. I actually go on Ubisoft's like Twitter pages and all that stuff too, and they're talking about the Watch Dogs online. They're saying we'll be able to buy our own cars and store them in garages and all that kind of stuff too. Like obviously Ubisoft probably has to see something like that. Obviously Ubisoft knows of Grand Theft Auto Online, of course. They obviously know because of how huge it is, and they should know that they have these opportunities to take shots at Rockstar and show them up, like saying, oh, this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it like this or something. My guess is what they should do is Ubisoft should make less paywalls though, like compared to what Rockstar does, like, and make it less complex. That's what I mean too, because sometimes like Grand Theft Auto Online can sometimes feel like a waste of time to me and stuff because of like how much like things you gotta do. And like the thing is too, what I mean by this too is I want Watch Dogs to be like a less toxic version of Grand Theft Auto also, because Grand Theft Auto Online is extremely toxic. Like when you're on there too, there's people that will blow you up with an oppressor and stuff too, like when you're doing like these like delivery missions, and especially if you worked so hard just to it may have taken you hours, maybe almost a week or something, depending on your schedule, of course, for some people.
Right.
But there's a time like I have to deliver this and stuff too, but you end up somehow like in the most toxic server ever, and then next thing you know, you get your delivery truck blown up because of how much slower it is compared to an oppressor. Mission failed. All your hard-earned work.
All your hard work is gone. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a thing that I want Watch Dogs Online to avoid 100% because like like they can do stuff like that. You know, the closest thing to something like that was the armored truck. Like you know how armored truck like you could be trying to escape the cops, but the cops are keep coming. But at the same time though too, the online player comes and swoops in and steals that package from you. Not even a minute later it says they extracted it, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not nearly as bad, right? As someone destroying like you're still getting a reward for it. You're still getting those followers of course too and all that stuff too and the armored truck for Watch Dogs too, right?
Mhm.
That's what I like. Like they need to do more modes like that for sure in Watch Dogs Legion Online, especially for the free roam too. Like they need to bring that seamless feature back where another 4-player squad can even invade you. Maybe even if they have the budget for this, add another 4-player squad in there so it can equal up to 12. And maybe if they can, do another 4-player squad and go up to 16 players because a lot of
Yeah,
people
that
even
kind of
said
stuff.
London is a huge place in this game, especially like the idea of if they're gonna add an extra part to the map like a countryside or something, like if people want that too, and if Ubisoft says, okay, we got the budget for that and we can do it because of Watch Dogs Legion is just skyrocketing in popularity and it's getting really good, we can do that, then yeah, you're gonna need those extra 4-player squads at times that can
Exactly, yeah.
in there too. Like they should make it where there's extra lobbies where you can go into seamless lobbies where you're just 4 players by yourself, but the other 4-player squads can come in and invade all at the same time though too. But or if you want to go into a lobby where there's already 16 players in total already, that's what would be really
Mhm.
great too.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. They just
Mhm.
need to. It can't be so closed off because right now there's a lot of limits, and even when you look at GTA and stuff, obviously it's more free in the terms of the social aspects, but when you're like, okay, if I want to get this much money for a car, for a weapon, like you got to do a lot of gameplay for that. And while it does work and it does keep players, kind of there because they want to get the reward, it's also going to be their downfall for some people who don't want to spend that much time in a game just working for a certain car, for a certain property. But like you were saying, how you were checking all those people who are like, okay, like can we get cars? Can we get this? That's because people look at this game and they need something to work towards because right now like as soon as you have 3 people who maybe have some decent guns or you have one hitman, you're pretty much set, especially with the absence of
Yeah.
permadeath, which by the way I'm happy about because permadeath in online just wouldn't work out as well. um, Without permadeath, then there's nothing really to keep working for. As soon as you have a hitman, you're set. As soon as you have a spy, you have a nice car. As soon as you have maybe like a couple of people with some passive abilities, then you have nothing else to work towards other than the battle pass. And the battle pass itself is really easy to get through. I think I finished it in maybe a week or just under. And that kind of stuff, when you put aside 2 months for just one battle pass, you need to have some more content prepared.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know how in this was actually also in the stream too, like that other day too. Like one of these people were asking, saying they want the car on demand app, of course, too, and they also want the 3D printer and stuff too. But like, even though they said that they took that out because they wanted to focus more on like, you know, like recruiting people with guns, of course. But like, I
Mhm.
came to this idea, and this actually might be really good if you hear me out also too on this one because this could work out really, really well, and I think it will probably make a lot of people happy. But to make this
What?
more of a reward and stuff
Uh
too,
huh.
they should make it this way. They should make it that you have to really work. You can't get that 3D printer right away or that car on
Mhm.
demand. They should make it that you need influence. They should lock it behind like I sound a little villainous saying this, but like they don't have to make it like a full-on villainous like paywall like GTA Online, but they should
Uh
make it
huh.
that you should have a little influence or something. Not just influence too, but you need crypto. You need a lot of crypto. You need to work for it,
Yes.
like to actually pay for this 3D printer or car on demand. And they should come with guns and not just guns too, but like these cars that are actually exclusive to those. Like not just like, because you know how that's another way they can actually introduce more guns to the game, right? That's what they can totally do. Like so
Yeah.
guns that are not like on operatives or something. Like you can like
Right.
you can you can buy those guns. So basically you buy the 3D printer. The more they add more guns to the 3D printer and updates, you have to pay even more crypto and more crypto, of course. Keep grinding for the crypto, right? Like look at all the stuff that we can do around the city. We're getting like crypto like no tomorrow. I had over like 100,000 crypto in the game and stuff. And really you can't the only
Yeah.
thing you can spend it on is just clothing. But of course
And that's
too
it.
if there's if there's like more things coming though, like too like of course the barbershop and the tattoo parlor, stuff like that, and that's pretty good that they're adding that too. So like we need more, we need to expand the roster of the cosmetics and stuff too. So like I was saying too, so for example, if we're gonna buy like a SMG or a assault rifle or something from that 3D printer, it will go to a character that comes with the assault rifles, right? Maybe even add more taser weapons into the game too. That's
Some
what would
more
be really
non-lethals and all
yeah,
that.
yeah, more non-lethals and stuff too that could be printed out on this 3D printer. Like yeah, you like there's those if they add more and more and more like guns, of course too.
Yeah.
Maybe even add a gunsmith system to the 3D printer also too. Like they also could do something like that. Like look at Ghost Recon. That game had like one of the best gunsmith systems I've seen in a video
Right.
game. Like and then so if you were to recruit someone with a gun or something, you can actually edit that gun on the 3D printer gunsmith system, add a scope, whatever, if you want to on it or something like that. Like there's you know how R3 is the button that makes the pulse go, right? The
The
pulse.
net hacker thing, yeah.
Yeah, like basically you can use that button while you're aiming. So only when you're holding down L2 you press R3, it will somewhat make the pulse go off at the same time too, but like you zoom
Right.
into the scope or something too. Like they have the controls
Yes.
for it. Like that'd be really good. They need that too because scoped weapons, I miss that in Watch Dogs 2. Like they did it really good. Like with especially with the 0-day rifle. They could totally bring something very similar to the 0-day rifle into Watch Dogs Watch Dogs Legion. For
Right,
sure.
and okay, I have a thought, but first, let's just hit a quick intermission. I need to give a little word to my viewers, and then we'll get right back to it, okay?
The thing is, in Watch Dogs 2 and 1, you actually take more fall damage than in Legion.
Yes.
In Legion, you actually like the thing is, if you actually go look on my YouTube channel, you'll see one of these videos where it's called the parkour compilation, and I was able to actually like do some crazy building scaling type things actually, like not full on like climb up like a building, but I was able to like do these crazy Assassin's Creed jumps and stuff and I actually dressed up my characters actually like an Assassin's Creed character while I was doing it. It was a parkour compilation, and the crazy part was, you'll be surprised, but my character was able to jump off like a 5 or so story building and actually not die at all. Like in GTA, your character would be wasted even
Oh,
lower
yeah,
than
for
that.
sure.
And the character
you
lands
say
on his feet.
the character lands on his feet, exactly, yeah. Because it's just fun, and these people are meant to be more agile. And you mentioned dressing up like an Assassin's Creed character. Now this is something that I have a lot of hope for, okay? And you can tell me if you feel the same, but August on the roadmap, completely dedicated to Assassin's Creed. It's Assassin's Creed crossover month. They're adding Darcy. They're adding Darcy's missions, and they're adding the world event based around Assassin's Creed. Now, the thing about this is, number one, the world event needs to be permanent because we can't be stuck with, oh, we get another world event in Watch Dogs Legion Online, but then it goes away because we really need the variety. But Darcy alone can't feel like everybody else. You can't switch to Darcy and she plays exactly the same as everybody else on your team because there's just no point in that. I just think that she needs to feel like she is an assassin. Because if, okay, like maybe her vaults are different or whatever, that's not going to change how she moves. She's going to move just as fluid as everybody else, which takes away the whole point of her being an assassin. So if maybe they won't add, okay, like she can climb anything, because that's not how this game was built. But they have to change something about her that makes her feel different. Because, for example, with Wrench and Aiden, obviously they have to make an impact with those people because they're iconic people to the franchise. They're different. They're not just Londoners. So that kind of stuff needs to be changed. I mean, like that kind of stuff they have more leniency with. As with Darcy, that's an assassin right there. You can't add an assassin into this game and not expect people to have expectations for her. That's the thing. Like that, she needs to feel different. And although most of these characters feel the same. Exactly. Although most of these characters feel the same, they have some slight differences that change their playstyle. But other than that, it's just the same movement. You're doing the same things. You have no special abilities. So that's why the play as anyone system kind of misses its mark in some regard, mainly because play as anyone kind of just feels like putting on a different class. You're using a different loadout. That's all it is, really, because you don't have attachment to the characters. But with Darcy, they can make her different, and they could use her abilities and her backstory and her past to kind of change the way that people use her. And then I think she'll be one of the more liked people. Although Wrench and Aiden have a high bar to set, I think Darcy has the potential to change movement in this game, even if it's just for one person.
And also, speaking of Aiden Pierce, he can't just have that pulse and stuff too. This is what I was actually saying too. I actually don't know, but I'm not expecting this, but this needs to happen though. This should happen. Aiden's focus mode needs to return. That's the thing, especially if you're gonna press L2 and R3 at the same time and you activate maybe Aiden's signature focus mode from Watch Dogs 1. They can actually like bring that back, right? Like that would be amazing. Like they could make it almost like the Deadeye from Red Dead more, actually. They can make it like that you can mark the targets, right? Like, what if they did something like that? And,
well, that's the thing. Yeah, you nailed it. Because that would make him feel different as a character.
That would be amazing, especially in the online, too. If you're gonna play as Aiden. Also, I don't know if this will be overpowered, though. It probably might be unfair, especially in a deathmatch, if they especially add, like, more like modes like Team Deathmatch and you're playing as Aiden and you're able to like mark them or something, and you're able to get like land accurate headshots or something. Do you think that would make it a little too overpowered?
Oh yeah,
especially
I think so. But even if they just use it for slow motion isn't practical in an online environment. Like that's just a thing. Like even Red Dead couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, because I know, like, because I know in Red Dead, of course, like obviously. In online, everything's in real time, so they can't slow the time down, of course. The only game that really does that would be Max Payne, if you ever heard of that one, of course, too. Yeah, that one, they do activate, like, a slow motion time, but obviously, they say Max Payne, so, of course, like, in Watch Dogs 1, the slow motion, focus mode in Watch Dogs 1, it's all in fast motion in the online, which is pretty cool, too. Right? Like that's what I find cool. It makes your shots a little bit more accurate. Also, it's exactly like the Deadeye. That's what I loved about Watch Dogs 1. What made me fall in love with the Watch Dogs franchise also was because I was like, this feels like Red Dead and GTA put together. That's what I was like. That's what made me love the game so much. It actually felt because the thing is too, Watch Dogs 1's story was actually a very serious story. It kind of felt like kind of similar to, like, I would say John Marston or Arthur Morgan's type story from Red Dead Redemption 1 and Red Dead Redemption 2, even though a lot of people said that Aiden was like empty trench coat type person. I actually connected with Aiden very well because I beat the story so many times. Like, at first, Aiden was okay, so at first, but as I played the story more and more and more, and especially replayed it, I actually was sold on Aiden. I loved Aiden, actually. He was pretty damn good. As you get to know him, a lot of people just didn't give Aiden a chance at first. That's the problem, right?
Yes, and the thing is too, they could have tried with another protagonist. They could have had people be like, fall in love with another protagonist, and that is where the play as anyone system kind of does take away from the series. But like I said, it works well. I'm not here to criticize the system. I'm just saying the protagonists were nice, and Aiden wasn't like, it was nice to have someone to connect to. And although some people said it was empty trenchcoat, by the end of it, at least you had somebody that you'd play the game through as for hours and hours, and then you knew him, you knew his motives, and all that kind of stuff.
You know what? That was a very good strategy for for the Watch Dogs franchise to do. What made people really like Aiden and Marcus so much more was when they added this play as everyone system. People were like, "Oh, I missed playing as those characters. Why did I treat them so poorly?" That's what so many people are probably saying. Hey, that's maybe you never know. That's what maybe Ubisoft wanted to do. They're like, you know what? We're gonna put this play as everyone system. It's gonna be so awesome and stuff too. But at the same time, though, we miss those characters. And then next thing you know, they bring back Aiden because a lot of people were saying they wanted to bring him back. That was like a really good strategy in redeeming like Aiden. Especially, I hope this story, the Bloodline story, I hope it actually brings back more Easter eggs to both Watch Dogs 1 and 2 and mentions a Marcus or something, or possibly some sort of like cameo appearance from Marcus or something. Like how crazy would this be if Ubisoft kept this under covers? Like, what if Marcus became this like what if he popped in out of nowhere and they said that you can play as Marcus also too? 3 playable characters, like almost like GTA 5. Like, how crazy would that be? Like, I guarantee you, like, that would probably just like mind blow a lot of people, probably, for sure. Like, he would say, yeah, that we never seen this coming. And I'm sure IGN would probably give it a pretty high rating if something like that was to happen or something too. Like, I don't know about a 10 out of 10, but like they would probably give it like definitely maybe a higher rating than the actual main story. That would be insane if Bloodline actually is more better than the actual main story.
Well, the thing is too, I know Ubisoft has potential to make stories. That's why this is a disappointment, because we've seen the Assassin's Creed games, we've seen the Division had kind of a story, but you know what I mean? Like, they've done so many varieties of stories and campaigns and all these stuff that they had going on that we know that it's possible, that they can do it. It's just the fact that they didn't, and that's why it's disappointing. So Bloodline has a chance to be a redeeming moment for their campaign creating skills and for the way they portray these characters, but it's just also something that will be nice to connect the series, because Bloodline takes place before the actual campaign of this game, and that's going to be really good, at least to me, because the way they connect the universe is what makes Watch Dogs, it's one of the Watch Dogs' strong suits. Because even in Watch Dogs 2, although it wasn't a big connection, you had that one mission with Aiden Pierce, where you see him, and then you do the mission and you get his jacket. And that kind of stuff, where it connects the series, will make it stand out a little bit more and makes it feel more complete as a franchise.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. So
it's just one of those things.
I'm just thinking though. This is what I've been really thinking about. If Bloodline is, of course, before the events of the main story, is it before the bombings, or is it just a little after the bombings? Because I heard that the main story picks up just a little after, like a couple months after, like Albion's arrival in London. Because because remember, what's his name? I forget his name, but like for right now, like Dalton, of course, Dalton. He went right after he had died and stuff, though, like when he got killed by the zero-day drone, of course, too, and then the bombs went off. I know there was a bit of a time skip in there, but I wonder if Bloodline takes place in between those events, in between Dalton in the main story, after Dalton dies in the main story parts, when you recruit your first operative, or does it take place before Dalton? That's what I'm thinking. Like, I am actually wondering what do they mean by that? Because the thing is, if they're gonna have it take place before that, they're gonna have to have the tone site and all those other places, all the bombed places. They need to be all intact still, right?
Exactly.
They can't just have it all bombed already and stuff. If it's before Dalton, that will. No offense to Ubisoft, but even though Ubisoft makes one of the best and very unique games, that would just be a little lazy on them if they were to do something like that. Especially if it's before Dalton, but if it's after Dalton, I see it. I understand why and stuff. Why everything's still bombed, right?
They just need to get a really good sense of their time when they do this DLC. And all we can do is, hope. And hope things turn out well. But I was just going to say, we are going a little bit long on time here, and I think our viewers might want to stick around for an episode 2 if you guys like it. We got to save some ideas for our next episode, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna actually throw in like something about Spider-Bot Arena and stuff like.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say something about Spider-Bot Arena, but we can save more of this for the next time. But like Spider-Bot Arena though, I like it. It's fun, but it's not fun enough and stuff because you know what it actually feels like to me? It feels like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, but with like little spiders and stuff, and it's way harder because like you're like these little spiders jumping really high in the air too, and not only that too, it's not like you can hold L2 and R2 to aim in. There's no aim button, of course, too. Like I'm actually not very good, to be honest, at Spider-Bot Arena. Like I'm more into like the human PvP fighting and stuff.
Me too.
That's what I really want. Like I did play against, like the only time I can ever like beat people at Spider-Bot Arena is when I'm going up against my friends. You remember how I said they're not very good?
Yeah.
I can only. I'm serious. I can only beat them. I actually am not very good against other online players because they're obviously so much better. And the funny part is, when I told my friends that we beat that mission and some of those other tactical ops, and I was playing with some of these other people, I said we were able to beat some of them under 20 minutes in around 15 minutes, and some of them, they actually don't even believe me because they say that they've been stuck on it for almost 4 hours.
They can check the clips. There's video footage of that.
Yep. Of course. Exactly.
I think, on that note, I think that's a good time to end this little talk. So,
yep.
Thank
I
you.
would say
everybody's watching.
All right. Thanks. And it's getting uploaded, right? You're probably putting my name as.
Oh yeah. So anybody watching on my channel, make sure to go check ZombfectedGaming out. His link will be in the description if I remember, which I definitely will. But yeah, go check his channel out. If you're watching on ZombfectedGaming's channel, thank you for stopping by. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. We can do more of these if you guys want.
All right, ZombfectedGaming 349 over and out.
There we go. Okay, thank you guys.